Yeah, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he just, he wiped it out.
At the end of the road, he's at the end of the road. Fights so big and the money's so big, he's going to take it.
Start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo's going to be a little muscle fatigued, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe issued a strong warning to Canelo Alvarez about stepping into the ring with Terence Crawford, suggesting the matchup could go disastrously for the Mexican star. Sharpe highlighted Crawford's superior speed, skill, and endurance, hinting that this fight might not just hand Canelo a loss, it could signal the decline of his long-standing reign in the sport. Meanwhile, Canelo himself opened up about his future, revealing that he is now seriously considering retirement. Reflecting on a 2-decade-long career, he admitted that after so many years of sacrifice and discipline, the urge to experience life beyond boxing is becoming harder to ignore. Occasionally, he said, he simply wants to try something new.
Ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. And it's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter, so it's meant a lot of years.
Eddie Hearn, Canelo Alvarez's longtime promoter and trusted insider, has ignited fresh retirement rumors by suggesting that Canelo's upcoming clash with Terence Crawford could be his final fight. Hearn hinted that the Mexican icon may be nearing the end of his legendary career, with the Crawford bout serving as the ultimate test and possibly his farewell to the sport. This isn't just speculation. Hearn has been by Canelo's side through the highs and lows, witnessing firsthand the physical and mental demands of nearly 20 years in the professional ring. According to him, this fight might not just be about legacy, it could be Canelo's way of seeking closure against one of the most technically gifted fighters of this generation.
Performed against Skull Eddie? Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. Just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished. The fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights, but I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired. I actually didn't fight Crawford because I don't think he'll want to lose Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. Fights so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after.
Eddie Hearn has voiced growing concerns about Canelo Alvarez's recent performances, especially in his bouts against John Ryder and, more notably, William Skull. According to Hearn, Canelo showed clear signs of wear, slower combinations, diminished head movement, and a noticeable drop in punching power. The explosive force that once defined Canelo in his prime appears to be fading. Meanwhile, the confidence from Terence Crawford's camp is at an all-time high. Bernie, a close member of Crawford's inner circle, didn't just call him great, he called him a legend. His confidence isn't unfounded. What's truly striking is the shift in sentiment among boxing fans in Mexico. While Canelo remains a beloved national figure, even some of his most loyal supporters are beginning to lean toward Crawford. This shift isn't about turning against a hero, it's about recognizing skill, momentum, and hunger. Crawford's dominance in recent performances has earned him global respect, and even those in Canelo's own circle acknowledge how dangerous Bud truly is. When admiration starts crossing cultural and national lines like this, it's clear, Terence Crawford is building a legacy that's impossible to ignore.
The man said, now when both good, so he's not going to beat you. I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feels. He believes in his heart. And you can tell it, you can look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford will win this fight. And a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they support him. They support him.
A lot of Mexican people, so they got their formula why Crawford going to beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. Everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he's He does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything. Yeah. And that's a damper on him, but I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit going up there fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defense under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo a number of credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to, but I got him. Yes. That's the how it coming around full circle. If God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean? Yeah. Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it. Yeah. It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight. Yeah, we have legends fighting each other. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport. Absolutely. Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik didn't hold back in his assessment of the Canelo versus Crawford matchup. Defying conventional thinking, Pavlik argued that Crawford, not Canelo, is the bigger force when it comes to strength and effectiveness in the ring. He praised Crawford's raw talent, tactical precision, and sheer physical intensity. But it was Pavlik's critique of Canelo that stood out most. He pointed out that in recent fights, Canelo has adopted a more cautious approach, fighting to survive rather than to dominate. Gone are the days of relentless aggression. Instead, Canelo now seems focused on avoiding defeat rather than seeking victory. Pavlik's message is clear. Crawford is a man on the rise, driven by hunger and momentum, while Canelo appears to be clinging to what remains of his reign. It's not just a fight, it's a clash between ambition and preservation.
Great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on that because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one, not worrying about anybody, saying, hi, you're wrong, or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia added weight to the ongoing discussion, echoing the sentiment that Canelo Alvarez has clearly moved away from his once aggressive knockout style. Garcia put it bluntly, Canelo is tired. Having been in the professional fight game since his teenage years, Canelo has shouldered the relentless grind of boxing for nearly 2 decades. According to Garcia, the calculated risks and explosive precision that defined Canelo's early career have gradually been replaced with a more cautious, energy-preserving approach, likely aimed at minimizing damage and extending longevity. But Garcia's words weren't meant as criticism. Rather, they were a recognition of the toll that years of high-stakes combat have taken. Canelo has been through wars, carried the expectations of a nation, and helped define an era of boxing. Now, the wear and tear is starting to show, not just in his style, but in the quiet fatigue behind his movements.
Roz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo.
Because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now. We've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same against Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. He's up there, and not in age because he's only like 33 or 34. But he's
fighting since 15.
15. a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. And not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believes.
Popular boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult described the Crawford versus Canelo showdown as a potentially history-defining moment. He emphasized that defeating Canelo, one of the sport's most iconic and globally recognized figures, would catapult Terence Crawford into the realm of true legends. At this point, it's no longer just about belts. It's about etching a name into boxing immortality. But Showbiz also warned of the double-edged sword that comes with greatness. If Crawford dominates too convincingly, it could spark backlash in the form of conspiracy theories. In today's social media-driven era, extraordinary success often breeds skepticism. People might question how a smaller fighter could dismantle a powerhouse like Canelo, and that doubt can overshadow even the most legitimate victories. For Crawford, this fight could mark the peak of his career, but also the beginning of a narrative battle outside the ring. The bigger the moment, the louder the noise.
Attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy, in trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champ. My fear is, if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a...
Veteran sports commentator Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from bold takes, offered a clear and confident prediction. He sees Terence Crawford winning by decision. Smith believes Crawford's discipline, elite ring IQ, and masterful control of tempo will allow him to outpoint the larger but slower Canelo Alvarez over 12 rounds. While acknowledging Canelo's ever-present danger, Smith noted a noticeable decline in his recent activity and output, something that plays right into Crawford's hands. In Smith's view, Crawford excels in drawn-out, technical battles, and if this fight goes the distance, it's Crawford's to lose. A unanimous decision victory over a legend like Canelo wouldn't just be another win. It would solidify Crawford as the top active fighter in the sport and carve his name alongside the greats of the modern boxing era.
Who's gonna win the fight? Who's gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud.
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo. Because Canelo is the naturally bigger, stronger fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up to fights not ready. He's always
prepared.
He's always ready. He's always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster.
Terence Crawford spoke with calm confidence ahead of the highly anticipated clash, openly acknowledging Canelo Alvarez's size advantage and trademark pressure style. But there was no fear in his words, only preparation. Crawford made it clear that he's ready for every scenario the fight might bring. What stood out most was his mindset, a rare mix of respect and unwavering self-belief. He isn't underestimating Canelo, but is also not intimidated. That balance, between humility and razor-sharp focus, is what makes Crawford so dangerous. It's not just his skills that set him apart, it's the mentality of a fighter who believes he can solve any puzzle put in front of him.